What's up, guys? This is Ray. Welcome to Asian Films, and we're here with this month's Patreon-sponsored movie review. And today we're going to be talking about Fly Me to the Saitama, which came out this year, 2019, and it's directed by Takeuchi Hideki, the director of Denmai Romaya, which was a hilarious movie if you haven't seen that yet. And this movie stars Nikaido Fumi, who's one of my favorite young actresses in Japanese cinema, and also GACKT, or in other words, GACKT, as some of you fans might pronounce his name, GACKT, but you should actually just call him GACKT. Fly Me to the Saitama, I listed it as one of the movies I was looking forward to the most, of Japanese movies I was looking forward to the most in 2019, and I watched it, and long story short, it was a lot of fun. But, let's dive into it. Let's talk about the story. Fly Me to the Saitama takes place in a world in which Saitama Prefecture is persecuted by Tokyo. Persecuted, or, in a way where that they don't have much rights. If they want to get into Tokyo, they need a special pass or like a visa of sorts. And those from Saitama who cross illegally into Tokyo and try to pass on themselves as someone from Tokyo, they get hunted down and they get captured. And they get deported, of course, but they're put through a lot of hell. So we have our two characters, Momomi, who's played by Nikaido Fumi, and her character is actually a boy, and he is the son of the governor of Tokyo, and he's also the student body president of their elite, prestigious high school. And then we have Rei, who's played by GACKT, and he's kind of this dreamy Iseya type, and he transfers to this high school after spending some time abroad overseas. I want to say he spent some time in America. And after transferring, he immediately captures everyone's attention with his good looks. I mean, if you don't know GACKT, then I think when you see GACKT, you'd be seduced by his looks too. He's just like Mr. Perfect. If you ever see him on TV in Japan, yeah, pretty much like his character doesn't change much from what he shows on screen. I mean, I'm serious, like I'm pretty serious. But it gets to the point that he and Momomi actually share a kiss, and this kiss actually also seduces Momomi to be his ally of sorts. However, it is actually revealed that Rei is from Saitama. And not only is he a guy from Saitama, he's actually a key member of this group of revolutionaries who are fighting hard to free Saitama from this persecution. So that's kind of the story of this movie. There's a lot more to it, but I think I kind of streamlined it pretty good. But this movie is based off of a manga which I have not read. I think it's marketed as a shoujo manga, like a girls manga of sorts. But I absolutely have never heard of it until seeing the trailer of this movie, and I was just taken in by the trailer. I fell in love with this over-the-topness. It's a variety of characters, and the fact that it has GACKT in it, and Nikaido Fumi, and also Iseya Yusuke. You got a whole bunch of heads of work cast in this movie, and it was just calling for me. So when it comes to the positives of this movie, well, simply put, everything. I absolutely love this movie. To date, this is probably the most entertaining Japanese movie that I have ever experienced in the theater. It was just that entertaining. But let's start with the performances. I absolutely love Nikaido Fumi and GACKT both in this movie. Together, they're magnetic. They had a lot of chemistry together, the way they were bouncing back and forth, and each character was memorable. You liked each character all the way through. And you have GACKT, like I said, his character in the movie doesn't actually change much than what he actually is on TV. How he's portrayed as a celebrity here. He's like the dreamy dude who all the girls love. But not only that, in this movie, he has put in a lot of situations that make his character funny, like just very funny, and not it's because mainly that he keeps his dreamy hot guy demeanor all the way through without breaking character at all. I mean, whether he's talking with other characters, when he's delivering a powerful speech to his fellow revolutionaries, to even if he's fighting against enemies, he doesn't drop that dreamy hot guy demeanor at all. And Nikaido Fumi, her character is kind of like the commanding control freak type, and she always makes these funny side comments to anyone who's not from Tokyo. It's basically Tokyo looking down at all the country folk. That being said, the comedy for me was on point. the whole way through. Now, let me tell you a bit something with the comedy of this movie. If you ever watched a movie theater in Japan, one thing you'll notice is that everyone is respectfully quiet. They don't make noise because they think that it takes away from the overall movie experience. But when I watched this in the theater, first of all, I watched it like, I don't know, 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after its opening day. It was still full. People were still watching it. And not only that, this was like one of those movies where everyone was just laughing from minute one. Like, there was always some joke, like every few minutes, that had the audience laughing. And, I'd never been to a movie which had this kind of situation where people were just constantly laughing and enjoying themselves the whole way through. It might sound weird if you've never been to a movie theater in Japan, but if you do, trust me, you'll feel the differences between watching a movie in Japan and, in my case, for example, watching a movie in America. Yes, going back to the comedy, like I said, this movie is directed by the director of Thermaya Romaya, which was hilarious. If you haven't watched those movies, please do yourself a favor, check them out. They're absolutely entertaining. But when it comes to the comedy, one thing that's always a problem when it comes to comedy, especially in a foreign language, is that not everything is going to hit. And that's because you have not only language, but you also have cultural differences that are impossible to translate. And even with subtitles and explanations detailing why a joke is funny, it just won't hit for people who are just outside of a different culture. But I felt like there was still a lot of things to appreciate about in Fly Me to the Saitama. But first of all, people who don't really understand what's happening culture-wise will still laugh at the over-the-top characters, the costumes, and the costumes like of anyone who is in Tokyo, the dress elite, very regal, and then you look at people who are from Saitama, they're all kind of poor countryside folk. And you see the dynamic differences right there, first of all. But people who can understand the culture will have a lot more to enjoy. I mean, first of all, there's this whole thing where people from Tokyo just make fun of people from Saitama. Saitama has a ton of nicknames, which they just make fun of. You get made fun of. Like one of the nicknames is Dasaitama. Dasai means uncool, more or less. And so Dasaitama, because there's not really much of anything to do there, it's just totally whack. It's like, why would you want to go to Saitama? And that kind of culture is the source of all the jokes in this movie. Not only does this movie make fun of Saitama, it also equally makes fun of Tokyo, and also throws jabs at surrounding prefectures such as Chiba, Ibaraki, Gunma, and even Kanagawa. And there are jokes that reference different areas of Tokyo, rivalries between different prefectures, and even local specialties and delicacies of the region, more specifically in Saitama. Like, there's this one scene in the trailers. If you watch the trailer, you'll know what I'm talking about. It shows two armies on either side of a river. One is led by GACKT, and this is obviously the Saitama army. And you have another army who's led by Iseya Yusuke, and this is the Chiba army. And they don't actually, they're preparing for the big fight, but during this scene, they're not actually fighting yet. They're trying to hype each other up. And the way they do that, they one by one, they show off these banners of famous celebrities who are originally from these respective prefectures. You have GACKT and his army showing one banner, and he says like, "Oh man, that's strong. Okay, show this." And then they show a celebrity, and GACKT and folks are like, "Damn, okay, that's good. We gotta counterattack." It's like showing off their local pride, and it doesn't sound as funny when I'm describing it, but when you see it on screen, in the trailer, they only show a little bit. There's a lot more that happens in the movie, and that scene was absolutely hilarious. I also dig the ending song of this movie. You can actually find the song on YouTube. I think it's called the Song of Saitama or Saitama Ken no Uta or something like that. And it's funny. It talks about Saitama, how there's nothing much to do, and why do Saitama people do this and stuff like that. It's all a good fun, and I played it to a bunch of my friends who are either from Saitama or have lived in Saitama before, and they all got a kick out of it. And it's funny, if you can ever listen to it and also look up an English translation, I think you'll have a good time too. As far as the negatives I have to say about Fly Me to the Saitama, nothing. I absolutely love this movie, but if there was one thing I would say, as I mentioned earlier, is that not 100% of its comedy will be translatable or understood by people who just don't know. But overall, what they have to say about Fly Me to the Saitama, as I said earlier, this is to date, you know, it's March 2019. This is to date the most entertaining Japanese movie this year. Like, I just had an absolute blast with it. I was laughing along with everyone in the theaters. And even though, like, I'm not familiar with some of, like, the local specialties, like, oh, I didn't know Saitama had that, or I didn't know this was popular as Saitama, you kind of know, like, I could catch the source of why this scene would be funny. And I think it could be a good cultural lesson of sorts. You know, if you want to know more about Saitama, Tokyo, and the surrounding prefectures and their relationship or rivalries with each other, this can be a good lesson learner, a lesson teacher, in a way, you know, in a comedic way, of course. But, you know, I think you do learn a lot about Saitama, you know, the prefecture where there's not really anything, not even ocean. You know, they make jokes about every single thing that we laugh about Saitama. And it does it in a very lighthearted and entertaining way. And at the same time, it also picks fun of Tokyo. And on top of that, you seen Black Panther when, you know, everyone was doing Wakanda Forever. Well, they have a special pose that everyone from Saitama uses. It's almost the same. It's very similar. It's like this. Like, I can't really do it that well. You can see it in the trailers, but it's funny when you see everyone, all the revolutionaries from Saitama, just doing their salute like that. But yeah, as I said before, because this is a comedy, I can't guarantee that everyone can appreciate the majority of the jokes that are thrown their way, but I can guarantee that there's a lot more to these jokes that people can appreciate. So needless to say, it comes with my highest recommendation to watch this movie. Definitely check it out if you have the chance. But yes, those are my thoughts on Fly Me to the Saitama. What did you guys think? Please let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And if you really dig my content, please know you can support Asian Films via Patreon from as little as $1. And yeah, that's about it for me, guys. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and hope to catch y'all again in the next video. Take it easy.